We'll start to allow our breathing to become more intentional. Each inhale may be through the nose, and each exhale slowly coming out the mouth or the nose. We begin to feel any props that are supporting us. We begin to notice the air and the temperature that is surrounding us. Even dialing in and noticing the feeling of our clothes against our skin. Taking those long, intentional breaths. We start to turn inward a little bit, noticing any aches or pains in our body today. Maybe any tweaks or twinges. Beginning to notice if there's energy or maybe a little bit of lethargy tonight. Continuing to check in, to notice if there are any emotions in the body. Or having any stories rattling around. We don't want to give these things judgment here and now, maybe even ever. We simply want to bring our awareness so that we can know how our body is functioning in this moment. We'll start to breathe in for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll exhale for a count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll continue breathing like this, inhaling for 4 and exhaling, extending it to a count of 6 for a few cycles of breath, really allowing us to come into this moment. You can focus on counting the breath. That is a great focus for your mind. Or you can let it be more natural, inhaling slowly and then slightly extending the exhale so it's a little longer than the inhale. Sometimes my students ask if meditation or yoga can heal anxiety or depression. Many think of healing as getting rid of a condition that's causing discomfort. But especially in the spiritual world, that couldn't be further from the truth. I like to explain that meditation didn't heal and couldn't heal the anxiety or depression, but rather it simply teaches me how to meet myself and approach those stressful and deeply sad moments of life with a more spacious and more kindness towards myself and others. Anxiety and depression still arise in me quite often, but rather than resisting, I allow them to simply be. This is why we are never healed. But as long as we are living and breathing, we are healing. So as you rest here and breathe, a few final breaths of our opening meditation, realizing that each breath is a healing breath. As you feel, realize that each emotion is teaching you something and that you are healing. We'll take just a few more breaths here. Healing breath. Maybe we release the counted breath, allowing our breath to go back to its natural rhythm. And then we'll begin to offer ourselves just a little bit of gratitude that we took time out of our busy lives, slow down, and meet ourselves here in our practice today. And then when you're ready, start to wiggle fingers and toes. We'll flutter the eyes open and we'll start to add some gentle movement into our practice. And let's start at our feet, just pointing and flexing the toes and ankles a couple times. And then if your feet are really close together, see what it feels like to maybe start to open them a little bit wider if you have the space on your area. Maybe even bring a bend into the knees, noticing what it feels like to have a frog sit against the wall. Or if you're seated in the chair, it would be a frog seat on your chair. Great job. Let's walk the knees back towards each other, either seated in the chair or against the wall. And then let the knees come over to the right side of your space. We're going to take it into a twist here. Now you can let the knees hover off the floor. You can bring them all the way down to the floor. Or if you're seated in the chair, the knees come to one side. And then twist from the waist as you look towards the other side. Great job. Our next exhale, go ahead and walk the feet through center. And then take the knees to the other side as you take your twist in the other direction. Great job. We'll bring the feet back through center. We'll hug the knees one at a time in through our chest. First, the right one, maybe taking it into a half happy baby. And then set that down or bring that back to rest. And then hug the left knee in. Half happy baby. Exhale to release. All righty, if you took your legs up the wall, go ahead and come on down as we come into a tabletop position, bringing hands under shoulders and knees under hips. Always welcome to add a little cushioning under those knees. And if you're taking your chair variation, we're going to sit up tall in our seated mountain. From here, let's take a few cat-cows as we inhale. We pull our heart forward, we lift our gaze, we squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then with our exhale, we're going to round the spine, curling chin to chest. Take this at your own pace. Inhaling forward and up. Exhaling to round and back. Notice how the body is moving. You're doing great. Go ahead and come to a flat back, and then let's take a thread the needle, taking the right hand out to the side, lifting it out. And then with an exhale, we thread it behind the left arm, sinking elbow and ear towards the mat. If you're taking it from the chair, you're bringing that right arm across, hugging it into your torso or bending at the elbow, letting the hand rest on your shoulder. Great job. Next inhale releases us, opening us back to the right. And then reset. Inhale, left hand opens up. Exhale, twist it in. Find your thread the needle. Come back into your breath. Great job. With our next exhale, let's release. Great job. All righty. If you are in your tabletop, we're going to start to move our fingers towards center. So the fingertips maybe come to point towards each other if that's available in your body. If you're seated in the chair, we're going to take our hands in front of us, interlace the fingers, and then push the palms away from us, lengthening out. So we're all getting a stretch through those outer wrists and arms. We're going to start to draw circles. If you're taking this from the floor, we'll start by drawing a circle with our nose, bringing our nose towards our right shoulder, down to the elbow, down to the right hand and floor, and then up the left side. And we'll continue like that for a few cycles. If you're taking this from the seated variation, same thing. But you're going to be moving your arms as you're circling. Great job. Let's go ahead and reverse the circle, taking it to the left and then around. All righty, go ahead and come back through center, keeping your hands exactly how they are. And now we're going to do mini push-ups here. So as we exhale, we're going to sink our nose towards the mat. And as we inhale, we're going to pull back up. We're going to let our elbows go out wide and then pull back up. Same thing if you're doing this from a seated position. You're pushing the air away from you just like you would with a push-up. Doing great. Just a couple more. All righty, our next inhale resets us in our tabletop or our seated mountain, releasing the bind with our hands, moving the fingertips forward. All righty, from here, we're going to find a little bit of a moon flow. Our first position will be this position, either tabletop or seated mountain. With our exhale, I want us to sink into our child pose. So if you're on the floor, you're going to sink your hips back, let your forehead come down towards the back. You're taking your child's pose from the chair. You're going to hinge forward. Hands can stay on your lap or maybe reach down towards your feet. This will be position 1. With our inhale, we're going to start to come up to a straight spine, circling arms up and overhead. Now, if you're seated on the floor, that means you're coming to stand on your knees as you circle those hands up and overhead. With our next exhale, we find our cow pose, coming into tabletop and dropping the belly. Or taking it from the chair.
And that's our third pose. So we'll go through those three poses. Exhale, child's pose. Find your fold and surrender. Inhale, root to rise. Lifting arms overhead, straight spine. Exhale, sink into your tabletop and then cow pose. And then take this on your own and curling through the spine as you round down to child's pose. Inhale to rise. Lifting hands overhead. Exhale, sink into your tabletop or mountain, finding your cow. Continue for 1 or 2 more cycles. Being mindful of the transitions, find a fluid movement with your breath. Our exhale, we end in a child's pose. Curling it in. Rounding. All right. From here, let's go onto a seat. If we're not on the seat already. If you're on the ground, go ahead and come into a seat, maybe bringing a pillow or a block under the hips. And we're all going to take our feet and legs as wide as feels good to open them up here. Now you can keep a bend in your knees. You can press through the heels, pulling the toes back. You can even add props under the knees for just a little bit of support here. Wherever you're at, really notice that length and extension. All right, now we're going to start to send our right foot a little bit straighter than our left foot. And then maybe if you're seated on the floor, bring that left foot in to tuck on the inner thigh. And if you're seated in the chair, just take it a little wider with a 90-degree bend into it. We're going to start by either holding on the same side as our extended leg on our chair or the floor, or sending the arm down the leg. As we start to find a side bend, we lengthen through the left side and lift the left arm up overhead. Lengthening along that extended leg. Great job. And then we're going to take that into a counter stretch. So we can bring our hand to our leg or to the floor outside of that left hip. We're going to start to circle the right hand overhead and really point the right toes away from the right hand, lengthening, really lengthening here. And then we're going to start to take some shoulder circles, taking it really slow here as we go either big or small, round and round. And then after a couple of cycles, go ahead and switch that up. All right, go ahead and pause, coming through center. We'll switch sides, sending left leg out long and either tucking that right leg or again, setting it out to the side as a stabilizer. We bring our left hand either to the floor, the chair, or along the extended leg as we lift that right arm up and over. Inhale back through center. We come through our counter stretch. Right hand comes to the floor or to our leg as we send the left arm as far in the opposite direction from our left toes as we can. Really stretch, stretch, stretch. And then let's start in on those circles. And then reverse your circles. All right, let's come back through center and then let's send both legs out long into a seated staff. We're gonna point and flex the toes a few times. And then take them in some circles. And then reverse them. All right, and then bring a bend into your knees and bring your hands behind you, either onto the floor or behind you on the chair. As we start to take a shoulder stretch, we press into the hands behind us and scoot our hips as far away from our hands as we can. If we're on the floor, maybe that means scooting them closer to our heels. Notice how that stretches through the front of your shoulders, no matter which variation you're choosing. We'll take one more breath, really lifting through the heart, lifting through the chin. And then exhale to release, shimmying the hips back close to the hands and releasing, bringing your arms up in front of you, giving yourself a little hug to release that. And then let's go ahead and come on up to standing. Get a few standing poses into our practice today. So let's start by coming into our mountain pose, really equally distributing our weight through both sides of the feet. And then as we inhale, let's lift it up into a tall mountain, reaching up high or wide, feeling that length and extension. And then let's drop our right hand to our right hip or maybe to our prop as we hinge towards the right. Inhale, come through center, both arms up. And now we're going to twist from the hips, taking one hand forward, one hand back, also towards the right. Inhale, come back through center. Lean to your left. Back through center. Twist to your left. Beautiful job. Inhale, arms up. With an exhale, let's take it through a prayer into our forward fold. And then let's inhale, halfway lift. Figure 7. Exhale, hinge and fold. And then bend your right knee really deeply. And like an archer pulling a bow and arrow with the left arm, twist it open. Exhale to release the left hand, bending through the left knee. Inhale, pull the bow and arrow with the right arm. Exhale to release through center. Sink it in a little bit deeper to your forward fold. Bend the knees, sink the hips, slow roll, coming all the way up to standing. Tall mountain. And then we're going to exhale. Let's come through our prayer into our mountain pose. All right, we're going to get a little bit of bounciness happening in our legs and our ankles as we start our washing machine arms. Let your knees bend, let your hips bounce. You can go fast or slow here. Your hands can flail up high or down low. They can hit against your body if that feels good. Take it at your own pace. All right, no matter how fast or slow we're going, we're going to start to slow it down and slow it down and slow it down even more until the hands finally come to rest by your sides. Great job. And then let's step that left foot back as we come into a crescent lunge. We'll bend through both legs. We'll pull the thighs together. We'll pull the belly button back. Now you can keep your hands on your prop if you'd like for more stability. Bring your hands to a prayer, or maybe you lift one or both hands up in the air. You're feeling wobbly, widen your foundation so that you're feeling strong and confident. All right, let's take our left hand down to our left hip, and then we're gonna either take it to our right knee or to the right side of our prop as we twist towards our right shoulder, taking our right hand behind us. Inhale to come through center, and then slowly step that back foot in. All right, let's take it to the other side. Finding our crescent lunge of choice. Take your time to make sure your foundation is set up. All right, right hand comes to our hip. And then let's twist it to the left. Great job. Inhale back through center. Straighten both legs. And then let's step the back foot in. Great job. All righty, from wherever we're at, we're gonna find our first downward dog of the class. If you want to use your chair, just make sure that it's up against something that's sturdy. Otherwise, you can use a wall, a chair, or the floor. Your hands are about shoulder distance apart. Begin to walk the legs back and pedal through the legs, shifting the weight from left to right as you pedal through. Alrighty, with our next inhale, let's lift the right leg a little or a lot, lifting those toes off the floor. And then with our inhale, we're going to bring our knee towards our nose and hover. And then send it back long. Inhale, bring your nose towards your knee, hover, send it back long. Inhale, nose towards your knee and hover. Send it long one last time. Exhale, downward dog. Pedal through your legs. Take any movement you might need. And then we're going to take that on the other side. Inhale, left leg reaches up, three-legged dog. Inhale, knee to nose, rounding through. Send it long. Knee to nose, round. Send it long, you got this. Knee to nose and round. Exhale, downward dog. Beautiful job. You took your downward dog from the floor. Go ahead and come into a tabletop. And if you took your downward dog from standing, go ahead and come into a forward fold. From here, we're going to take a puppy or dolphin pose, bringing our wrists, arms, and elbows down to whatever prop we're choosing, and then walking the knees back, allowing ourselves to sink in to our shoulder stretch here. If you're using the back of your chair for your puppy pose, you may want to bring a blanket or something else under the elbows to offer a little bit more comfort. Notice if your heartbeat is running fast, and see if you can slow it down, taking slower breaths. All right. Our next inhale moves us into a tabletop, whether that's a seated or standing tabletop. So if you're taking the tabletop from a standing position, you'd want to keep your ankles and hips in a straight line, and your wrists and shoulders in a straight line, and your hip all the way to the top of your head in a straight line, no matter where your tabletop is. So floors or standing. Alrighty, we're gonna get into just a little bit more of that core strength here. So as we inhale, we're gonna shift ourselves forward into a half plank. And then as we exhale, back into your tabletop. Now to go a little bit deeper, you can go to a full plank by lifting the knees and then setting them down for the tabletop. You're taking this from a standing position, and moving from our tabletop. And pull your hips forward. And then exhale, send them back to your tabletop. And then pull your hips closer to your prop. All right, we'll take this at your pace, whichever plank, tabletop variation you're taking. Make sure you're engaging through your core and that you're not losing track of your muscles as you make this movement. The transitions are just as important as the final poses. Making sure your wrist and shoulders stay in alignment no matter where you're at. Great job. Last pull forward. Exhale, tabletop. Great job. From here, let's take a slow roll, coming all the way up to standing. All right, and then let's take our left foot, step it back for a triangle pose. So we'll let the toes come out towards the side, the heel directly in line, the right toes pointing towards the front of your space. And then with our inhale, we'll take the arms out wide to a T. We'll begin to start to pull those front fingertips as far forward as you can. And then with an exhale, allow them to find a prop or your leg. Once again, stacking wrists and shoulders in that straight line. Root to rise as we inhale to come back to a straight spine. And then we're going to twist it to the other side. So we're going to take that front leg, turn it to the side, take the back leg, turn it towards the back of our space. Inhale, arms up wide. Exhale, find your pull forward. And then tilt and stack. Really allowing that back hip to pull back away from you. Beautiful job. Inhale through center, arms out to a T. Exhale, drop your hands to your hips. Now let's turn both toes in the same direction, all the toes in the same direction, I mean. And then as we exhale, we're going to sink into a shallow squat. Hold it here, really keeping the spine tall. Inhale, circle arms up and overhead. They can stay wide or maybe touch. Inhale, 5-pointed stars, lengthening the legs, lengthening the arms. Exhale, sink it back in. This time taking it into cactus arms. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Gonna sink it in one last time, but this time you can keep your hands on your hips. A prayer. You can put them overhead in the air. But we're gonna lift one heel, set it down. Lift the other heel, set it down. Maybe go back and forth, or maybe lift both heels. Doing great. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, hinge into a forward fold. Go ahead and walk your hands over towards the left leg. And then let the left arm keep going up, adding a twist. Exhale to bring the left hand down, walk it over to the right side. But then she get there with the left hand and let the right hand keep going, twisting up towards the ceiling. Exhale to come back through center. Inhale to halfway lift. We're gonna take our arms out wide to a T. And then engaging through our core, let's exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, take the arms alongside the ears. Inhale, root to rise, 5-pointed star. Great job. Go ahead and bring those hands back down to the hips. Step those legs in. We'll take one last sun salutation to end our moving standing flow. We inhale to circle the arms up and overhead. We have options here to keep the feet where they are, or maybe step the left foot back. As we exhale, we lean to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist to the right, open arms wide. Inhale through center. If you're stepping the foot back, step it back in, switch sides. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale through center. Twist to the left, opening up wide. Inhale through center, step that right foot back in. And then take your left foot and cross it over your right foot. You can have the feet touching, they can be separate. One could be forward and one back, but find the cross that feels great for you. And then with an exhale, we're gonna hinge into a forward fold, bringing our hands onto a prop, the floor or our own legs. Sink it in. Let the top of your head grow heavier. Inhale to halfway lift. Go ahead and take that back foot around and place it in the front. Exhale to sink it back in to your forward fold, a little bit deeper. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to release the feet back to their mountain placement. And then we're going to push into wherever our hands are located, whatever prop they're in, rocking onto the balls of the feet and the toes, lifting both heels up just a little bit or a lot. And then exhale to set those heels down and rock back, lifting the toes, maybe lifting the balls even. And then find a little rock here, forward and back. You might feel a little bit of creaking and crackling through the feet here. I often do. All right, come through center and then roll to the edges on one side, through center to the edges on the other side. So we're rolling left to right now. Great job. Go ahead and come back through center. And then we're going to draw, I don't know, whatever shape you want to call it. We're going to go around the outer edge of our feet in a circular-like motion. Get your ankles into it, get your knees into it, get your hips into it. Really feel that movement. Go in one direction, just a few cycles, and then let's reverse it. Okay, come back through your stillness and let's take a final ragdoll. Maybe grabbing opposite shoulders or opposite elbows and finding a little sway from left to right. We take our next inhale, we'll come up to a slow roll to our mountain pose. Great job. All right, if we're taking chair poses, we're going to come to stand in front of our chair. For taking floor poses, we might want to bring a block close by as well. We're going to stand with our feet about mat distance apart, the toes out and the heels in. As we inhale, we lift the arms up. And as we exhale, we're gonna start to sink into a slightly deeper squat. If we can hover just off our prop of choice for just a moment. And when you feel like you can't hover anymore, go ahead and bring your hips either down to your chair or to your prop, or just hang there for a few more moments, trying to keep that spine straight. And then when you're ready, go ahead and drop the hips down. Great job. All righty. We're gonna find our strap for this last little bit. And if you are up on sitting on a block, go ahead and come down onto the floor. And we'll roll down onto our backs. You can roll into a ball, maybe take a few rocks from side to side. If you're in your chair, bring your hips forward, your shoulders back. You can even add a pillow here just to add a little extra support, and bring one knee in and then the other. All righty. Wherever you're at, settle into a little bit of stillness, maybe coming into a constructive rest if you're on the mat. And then we'll start to hug in our right leg, bring it in towards your torso. You can take any ankle movement, toe movement you might feel like you need here. Then we're gonna let the knee fall out to the right side. You can hold it with your strap for a little more support here, but really just let that inner hip open as it falls out to the side. Great job. Come back through center. You can always work with the bent knee variation, or start to send your leg long by wrapping the strap around the edge of your foot and sending it out long. Now you can keep a bend in your leg or press through the heel, really lengthening out. Now, whether you're using the strap or not, we'll start to walk our hand up the strap or the leg, lifting the shoulders off the floor or off our chair. We round our knee towards our nose. Great job. Exhale to release. Now we're going to take that right leg out to the right side, letting it fall. You can let it hover off the floor if you're on the floor. You can let it hang out to the side. You can even prop it up on a prop if you'd like. Get that inner opening here. All right, go ahead and bring that foot back to the center line. Now we're going to take an IT band stretch, and to do this, we need a micro movement. So the less is more for this one. We'll start by turning our right toes towards our left shoulder and our heel towards the right side of the mat. We'll then begin to slowly move the leg across the center line of our body. We might not move it very far before we start to notice the outer hip and IT band on that right side. Once you find your stretch, stay there for just a moment. Great job. Exhale to bring it back through center, and then we'll release the right side. Inhale to hug the left knee in. Get that compression. Exhale to open it out to the side. Inhale to bring the leg through center, maybe extending it long. Our next inhale walks us up our leg or strap, lifting shoulders and head just a little bit. Exhale to release. And then let the left leg fall out to the left side.
you're on the floor, it can be helpful to bring your right hand to your right hip, a gentle reminder not to let it leave the floor. Inhale to bring it back through center. Now, this is that micro movement. Left toes point towards the right shoulder. Left heel points towards the left side of the room. Begin to cross over the center line just until you feel that entire outer strip of your leg start to say, hello, how are you? I feel you stretching me, and stay right there for just a moment. Great job. With our next exhale, we'll release. We'll bring the soles of the feet together, letting the knees open wide in a reclined cobbler. Your hands can rest on your lap alongside the body, or maybe even circle overhead, letting your head rest in your interlaced fingers. This is a restorative pose, so the longer we hold it, the more opening, the deeper we get into the stretches. Now, maybe you allow your eyes to close here. Maybe you start to come back into that counted breath, breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll continue that breathing pattern for just a few more cycles, allowing time and gravity, the capacity to open those inner hips, to release all that stretching we just did, and to integrate it into your body. Allow your hands to circle down by your thighs, and then use them to push your knees towards each other. We'll end with some windshield wiper knees, going left and right. You're welcome to hold it if you'd like to hold it, or find this dynamic movement left to right. And feel free to take any final movements as you make your way into your final resting pose. Excuse me. You're more than welcome to end class just like we started, by bringing your legs back up the wall. Or you're welcome to take a corpse pose, stay right in your chair, or move to someplace a little bit more comfortable. You might decide to add pillows or blankets or any other props so that you can start to relax on command. But take some time now to simply relax. Get yourself into your most comfortable position. When you're ready, maybe closing your eyes or simply softening your gaze. And start to take some deep breaths, making sure your breath is going all the way down into your abdomen. And then hold it for just a moment before you breathe out. This is your time to listen to your mind. See if you can simply relax as you begin to empty out physically and mentally, maybe even emotionally, so that you can dive inward. Take a moment to notice if you're trying hard to be here, if you're resisting at all. And then see if you can allow those muscles to relax even more. As you begin to surrender to the final moments and whatever they might bring. With your next inhale in, start to bring your awareness to the things in your life that you have to be thankful for. When we show and tell others how thankful we are in our life, we begin to notice that our life is already overflowing with treasures. Whether big or small, we can be thankful with words, a smile, to write a card, give a hug, or by simply saying thank you out loud. If you want more connections, you have to be thankful for the connections you've already made. If you want new things, we can be thankful for the things we already own. And when we want to be better and more skillful at something, take a moment to be thankful for how much we've already learned. When we start saying thank you for absolutely everything, thank you for clean water to drink. Thank you for those birds singing sweetly in the tree outside my work office. Thank you for the paper to create art with. You can even say thank you for things you want to happen in your life. Thank you for new electronics. Thank you for a vacation to someplace magical. Thank you for my growing confidence. When we come from a place of thankfulness, we know we have enough because we are giving thanks with love. But being thankful is also about accepting the wonderful gifts as they come our way. The universe wants to shower you with gifts. And we receive these gifts when we notice them and say thank you when they arrive. Maybe it's the clerk at the store who's always nice to you, or the acquaintance who always makes you laugh. Maybe it's the friend that always includes you. Do you notice these gifts when they show up for you? Or do we remember to be thankful for the people in our lives, for the things in our lives, for the things we like to do? Are we thankful for our family and our friends, our teachers and our acquaintances? How about our bed and our house and our cars? Things you like to do, like maybe a dance class or play a video game, or simply listening to music. Being thankful for the people, the objects, and the things in our life. will create so many more things to come into our life to be thankful for. And you cannot do this wrong. When you say thank you and do it often, you open the door for more things to say thank you for. Once you get started with this thankfulness, you will notice all the wonderful things in your life already. Thank you to all the people, the objects, and the things you like to do. We'll take these last few moments together now in our minds. And I will be back in just a moment after I'm done saying my thank yous. Great job. You can do this anytime to calm your mind when it feels busy, sad, or even upset. And to bring your mind back into a receiving mode, to fill up your cup with gratefulness each and every day. We'll begin to take the deepest breath of our day so far. And as we do, we'll once again notice the floor or the props that are supporting us. We'll notice the temperature of the air that's surrounding our bodies. Maybe even noticing the clothes that we wore today. And then as you're ready, wiggle fingers and toes. Take a full body stretch or any movement you might want. And flutter the eyes open as in your own time and in your own way, you come back to an upright position facing me. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was such an honor to move and meditate with you. Thank you so much.